Messiah is a savior and a conqueror.
Joseph, follow me.
I.U.I.C. TV.
To the people of Grenada, where it owned 6 sugar plantations. One member is my colleague Laura Trevelyan. She is a BBC presenter in Washington and in New York, and she's been speaking to reporter Azadeh Moshiri in a personal capacity.
How do you make up for centuries of oppression? That's a question countries like Britain and the United States are still trying to answer. BBC presenter Laura Trevelyan is confronting her ancestors' own role in the slave trade. Across the Caribbean, there are calls for reparations. After she learnt her family was listed on a database of slave owners, Ms. Trevelyan visited Grenada to face her ancestors' painful legacy.
When I went to Grenada and I saw for myself the plantations where slaves were punished, when I saw the instruments of torture that were used to restrain them, when I looked at the neck braces, at the manacles, at this system of dehumanization that my family had profited from.
Black man, Black man portion. Aye, there we go.
The book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 4.
Get a lady from Digital Fly there for me with the red bag.
Romans chapter 3 verse 4. God forbid, yea, let God be true.
So say let God be true.
But every man a liar.
So if we don't come out of the Bible, we shall lie. Alright? So if what we saying is not true, we lie. So you have to come from the Bible, right? So give me to tell me one-on-one.
Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1.
Right after Exodus.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Who Moses spoke to?
Unto all Israel.
So who Moses speak to, brother? I didn't get your name. My name is Nehemiah. What's your name? Dennis. So who Moses was speaking to? Dennis?
All of Israel.
All of Israel. Who Moses was speaking to, brother?
All of Israel.
All of Israel. So now get to tell me 28 and 1.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So if the Israelites want to listen to God,
to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So if the Israelites want to do what God says to do, God is going to set them on high above all nations of the earth. Are we paying attention, brother? Paying attention?
Yeah,
what book
I
you
showed that scripture.
Yeah, what book you know?
Deuteronomy 28:1.
28 and 1. So if the Israelites do what God says to do, he's going to have someone have to do it. But he's going to set you above everybody on the face of the earth. So now give me verse 15. Don't put up the phone. We haven't finished yet, you know.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 15.
We want to make sure that we are in line for you. We're not lying for you, so we're going to show you. 15.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So if the Israelites don't listen to God,
to observe, to do all his commandments.
To observe and to do all his commandments.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all his curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So if the Israelites don't do what God says to do, God is going to put a curse on the Israelites. So how would we identify the Israelites? In 46, same chapter, verse 46. How we identify the Israelites?
Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign.
And the curses is going to be upon the Israelites for what?
A sign.
For a sign. So what does a sign do? It identifies a place or something, right? So he said the curses are going to be upon the Israelites for a sign, read.
And for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
And the curses is going to be a sign on the children of Israel forever. Correct? So give me verse 16.
Verse 16. Curse shall not be in the city.
So in the last days, on this sign, look in the city and see who is the people that are going to be cursed. Read again.
Curse shall not be in the city.
Curse shall not be in the city.
And curse shall not be in the field.
In every society where there are black, what you call so-called black people, are they above in the city or are they below in the city? Below. That identifies the Israelites.
The report has put a number on the economic disparities black Americans face. The report by McKinsey & Company found 19% of black families in the U.S. have a negative net worth. The research also reveals a wage gap in the billions and a revenue gap for black-owned businesses of more than $1 trillion. So for more on this, we want to bring in Shelley Stewart III. He's a partner at McKinsey & Company, where he leads the Institute for Black Economic Mobility, and he is one of the authors of this report. Thank you so much for joining us, Shelley. It's a really good snapshot of where we are now. I said at the top of the show that, Juneteenth being a national holiday is great, but there's still a whole lot of other stuff that we need to do. So let's start with this negative net worth. How do so many black families have a negative net worth? What is driving this?
Absolutely, and thank you very much for having me and for your coverage in general of this Juneteenth celebration and reflection. The reality of it is there's a certain cost to live, right? There's a cost to have a home. There's a cost to provide your family with food and with health care. And when you have low wages, and you identified it earlier, there's a $220 billion wage gap in this country between black Americans and white Americans. When you don't have big inheritance, there's a $200 billion annual inheritance discrepancy every year that flows or doesn't flow to black Americans. You got to borrow. And when you borrow and you don't have enough income to pay that down over time, you end up with negative net worth, and that disproportionately impacts black Americans.
Most cities, even where you have predominantly black people like in Grenada, in all those businesses, it's more than likely it's either Caucasian that own them, or Syrian that own them, or Chinese that own them, or Indian, right? So now give me verse 32, same chapter.
Verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters.
So the Israelite sons and daughters
shall be given unto another people.
Shall be what?
Given unto another people.
So the Israelite sons and daughters shall be taken from them and given to another people. In Grenada, where did this happen? If you know any history about Grenada, where in Grenada did this happen? What you see right here? An auction slave block. Where did that happen?
Right over there.
Right,
That's right over there.
Right
where the pamphlet is.
Right. So you see them little holes that you're seeing? That's where they hold the slaves, and then across in the market, they have a plaque there where they tell you the slaves were sold in the market. So read it for me again.
People of Grenada, where it owned 6 sugar plantations. One member is my colleague Laura Trevelyan. She is BBC presenter in Washington and in New York, and she's been speaking to reporter Azadeh Moshiri in a personal capacity.
How do you make up for centuries of oppression? That's a question countries like Britain and the United States are still trying to answer. BBC presenter Laura Trevelyan is confronting her ancestors' own role in the slave trade. Across the Caribbean, there are calls for reparations. After she learnt her family was listed on a database of slave owners, Ms. Trevelyan visited Grenada to face her ancestors' painful legacy.
When I went to Grenada and I saw for myself the plantations where slaves were punished, when I saw the instruments of torture that were used to restrain them, when I looked at the neck braces, at the manacles, at this system of dehumanization that my family had profited from.
They were bought and sold.
And bring them on the plantation.
So one mark here. Come closer. I'm good. You can see that from here?
What do you mean about to see?
You have to read it, man.
I
I can see that from here, but you have a very good eyesight. So it says, all persons that have slaves to dispose of will do well by giving me a call. I will give the highest price for men, women, and children. So hear from me again.
Thy sons and thy daughters.
Thy sons and thy
daughters
shall be what?
Shall be given unto another people.
They will be sold. Remember what you read in 46, read 46 again for me.
And there shall be upon thee for a sign.
So the causes is going to identify the Israelites. So he said, when you see the people who are being sold as slaves, he's going to identify we're going to identify the Israelites. And who did this happen to? So what does that make us? I ain't finished yet. Give me verse 38.
Verse 38.
Don't go yet. Don't go yet. 42.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters.
So he said the Israelites are going to have sons and daughters.
But thou shalt not enjoy them.
But the Israelites are not going to enjoy their children. Why?
For they shall go into captivity.
For they shall what?
Go into captivity.
So the Israelite sons and daughters will be sold into what?
Captivity.
Captivity or slavery. You understand? We are the Israelites. That identify the Israelites. I'm pretty sure you didn't even know that was in the Bible. That verse. You know that was in the Bible?
No.
No, you didn't know that. So that verse.
That's what I have to say.
Right.
I knew about the curse of the
Alright. But you know it identifies the Israelites. Right. So that identifies the Israelites. So give me an next one.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
God is going to scatter the Israelites amongst all people
from the one end of the earth, even unto the other.
So from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. Now, question to you is, what is the two biggest religion that black people follow?
They can't start it.
Christianity and Islam. Okay? What do the people in Islam, what do they worship? Allah, and what else? What do they walk around? What do they walk around? They make the Hajj. What do they make the Hajj around? So they put on the sign here, What do they make the Hajj around? Yeah, the Hajj, where they walk around something and they bow to it. And they kiss it.
I know they pray towards Mecca.
Yeah, but what's in Mecca? Mecca was a slave port, but what's in Mecca?
The big mosque.
Iron. No, not the Golden Heights. What's in Mecca? What's in Mecca?
That's where the pilgrimage goes.
But what's in Mecca? What do they make the pilgrimage around?
Kebab.
Iron. The Kaaba stone. The Kaaba stone, right? The Kaaba stone is a stone, right? So read that for me again.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
So he said the Israelites are going to be scattered amongst all people
from the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods.
And while you're in captivity, you're going to serve another God,
which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. Even wood and stone.
Even what?
Wood and stone.
What?
Wood and stone.
Let me sign up. So what is this here? That's the Kaaba stone. So they worship the Kaaba stone. Like people that bend down, praying to a stone, a rock. So if he said two religions, one is wood and one is stone. And this one here is a stone. Which one is the wood?
And there's a website. Chinaman.
Remember we said there are two religions that black people follow. Christianity and what? Islam worship is stone. So which one is the wood?
There's a piece of wood.
No. The cross. The cross is the wood. Because that's what they make it for. Before the cross was a metal and all this kind of thing, it was a wooden cross. All people bow down and worship the wooden cross. What does it say? You know what? Even what? No other gods?
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
Other gods is Christianity and Islam. Read.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. Even wood and stone.
Even wood and stone. Wood and stone. So Christianity, where the other side? This side. This side. Right, sorry. So Christianity, this here is the wood gods. because they brought Christianity to us. And why was black people doing these days? Slavery. So they learned that. So give me first 40. So during these days, black people was in slavery. And Jim Crow, he's a lone man. So slavery and Jim Crow, black people was around. Slavery and Jim Crow during this time. What happened to this?
Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies.
This one. So he said the Israelites are going to serve. You have to break this in. He said the Israelites are going to serve the who?
Thine enemies.
Israelites are going to be servants to the what?
Thine enemies.
Going to be servants to the what? The enemies, right?
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Which God sent against the Israelites.
In hunger.
So in hunger, they're going to serve the enemies.
And in thirst.
So when they want water, they're going to serve the enemies.
And in nakedness.
And the clothes on the back, they're going to serve the enemies.
And in want of all things.
So in want of all things, including religion, education, they're going to serve the enemies.
And he,
that enemy,
shall put a yoke of iron.
Shall put a what?
A yoke of iron.
Enemy is going to put a what?
A yoke of iron. Upon thy neck.
Upon what?
Upon thy neck.
Upon what?
Upon thy neck.
So the enemy is going to put a yoke of iron upon the neck. Now give
me Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you. And